Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel as part of my spiritual videos and as part of my grief videos. So, hate to go a little dark on you today, but it's a really important conversation. And the question is, do you think when we go that we know? Do you think it's predetermined? You hear countless stories of people saying, I was in the room when he passed, or I wasn't in the room when I missed that time. Do you think that the soul actually knows? Have you ever heard the experience that we actually are given 5 exit points in our life and we get to choose when we leave? So those missed accidents and those experiences, and then that beautiful energy around divine timing again. Do you think our exit is predetermined and pre-planned? That's the question I want to talk today about on my channel, but I also want to share a story that I think might shed a little light to that. It's coming up next. Hey, thanks for staying clicked in. So first off, let me just set this up and say that I'm not saying that we're prepared, that we knew they were going to leave and that we could have stopped it. That's not the conversation, the deeper conversation I want to have today. That doesn't take away a whole other video, which could be other people's free will taking our right away. Okay, so that's for another video. I want to have that everything is almost set in motion, that the soul, it seems that the spirit actually knows that it's going, because I've heard many stories from people I've worked with that, we had these weird conversations prior to them leaving. We actually talked about that, even though it was a freak accident. Policies were set in place. He called me the week before. I mean, my first love that died, Stevie Brown, my first love, truly, years. I happened to be at a party the night he called. He passed the phone around to 35 friends. We all were, so happy to say hello to him. 24 hours later, he was killed in a car crash. And we were all back together again, standing a week later at his funeral. That gift of saying goodbye was almost pre-planned and predetermined, or was it just a gift? So I'm not trying to change that, but that's the kind of conversation I want to have today with you. So the question, do you believe that it's all predetermined when we leave, and do you think we have a say in that?
I 100% believe in this. I 100% trust in this, and that is because I have grown so much in my faith to know that God predestines everything that we do. And when we learn to trust in the divine and trust in timing, we get to see things that we normally wouldn't see if we don't have that faith.
Yes, I do believe that the soul knows before coming down to earth that, it knows the day it is going to go. I do think that we forget, when we come down into our bodies, yes, but I do believe the soul still consciously knows that.
Hi, Jeannie. You had asked the question, do I believe the soul knows when it comes into physical form that it will be leaving one day? And I think the short answer is no. And most of it is based off the book that you had given me a while ago when we first met, the Many Masters book, where it talks about past lives and the therapy sessions that had revealed the past lives, and a lot of it was based, or a lot of it discussed a limbo area in between lives, where it almost felt like the masters knew all, that they describe, and the people, the souls, are just kind of navigating and trying to figure it out. They seem to know more in between lives than they do while they're in their physical lives.
We do oftentimes have choices as to whether we're going to exit or not, and that's from a soul level. So are we aware of it? No, we're not aware of it.
So that tends to be why I think that the soul doesn't know. It's almost like, I don't know if we forget when we come into physical form, and then we realize again once we're back out of our physical form and in between our lives. But that is basically how I believe the answer to that question goes. All right, thanks.
So I do believe that our soul is being told when we're ready to go. And again, you have certain points in your life and chances that you're given to take on that time to go home. If you don't pass that test, you don't go. And then you get that test again.
So then comes the question of free will. So does that mean we have free will? Well, yes, sure, I do believe that we have free will, but within the boundaries of destiny. So, I think that we could pick the apple or we could pick the banana. Either way, it's going to lead to the same outcome. There's this quote by Ramakrishna Paramahansa, and he says, "Free will is like a rope tied to a cow's neck, and the cow tied to a post. She can move only as much as the rope allows." So free will representing the rope and destiny representing the post. Well, free will can only move as much as destiny allows.
Well, I actually believe that the soul is always contained within each of us. The personality is always trying to align with soul purpose. And the way that you see that show up is how you feel. How does it make us feel about our own behavior? So yes, I definitely believe that the soul knows when it will leave.
So, we have choices that we can make, but it's still going to lead us back to the same outcome, which is the post. It's already written, right? But, we have choices that we can make that will lead us to the same outcome, to the same day that we decide to go, when it's our time to go. I believe free will and destiny, it's not one versus the other. I believe that they work together and that they're partners in taking us down our life path. And so yes, I do believe the soul knows when it is going to go. I think we consciously forget when we come down into our bodies, but the soul knows. I think, we have a birthday and we have an end day, and that is my opinion on that. So
Okay. So there are people that have NDEs, near-death experiences today, that are actually showing us the perfection that we're going to enter.
And until we pass that test is when we get to go home and enjoy an everlasting life.
Second. But the veil of forgetfulness, once we come as humans, erases our ability to remember heaven. Because think about that. If we remembered, we may not want to be here because it is perfection.
Okay. I want to share a story that's got both. It's got my awareness that my daughter was done her work and chose to leave, and I want to honor that contract. But it also has, there was a near miss a year earlier. Her and I survived a carbon monoxide poisoning. Not a lot of people know that. Imagine how grateful I was. Somebody called the wrong phone number. Back before cell phones, when you actually picked up your phone, okay, woke me up out of a dead sleep, no pun intended. It was 11 o'clock on a Sunday, and we were sleeping through poisoning. So we got out of the house, we survived that near miss. I was sicker than my daughter was due to the fact that I was actually home recovering from surgery, and that she had been getting picked up every day. So I just was staying in the toxicity of all that poison, and my levels showed it when we got to the hospital. So whoever was that called me that day, there are no such thing as wrong phone numbers. Remember that now. So back to my story. When I got back to work after, the surgery I had and the carbon monoxide poisoning, I missed like 3 weeks of work. And when I got back, there was a nice little notice on my desk that my sales numbers were down and that I needed to be put on warning to go into the new year, because clearly if I was doing my job, my pipeline would still be there. So my action plan was actually giving my 2 weeks notice 2 weeks after that. and being done with that, that experience. Okay. When I got there, then I lost my daughter. And when I was working for that company, it all kind of had to be. I was in the right place. I was being treated the right way. I was being respected. I was given the time to grieve. Okay. I could not have gone through that loss without being in that place. Just want you to know that their contract to leave sometimes takes you to where you need to be.
I always kind of felt that I would lose a child. I always felt that. So one incident was when my daughter, Heather, was supposed to get off the school bus. She was in first grade. Well, she never got off the school bus. So I felt like my body was just going to shut down. I was terrorized, very, very frightened. And it was probably 45 minutes that I was going through this process of extreme anxiety. And then all of a sudden, this feeling of everything's going to be okay just washed over me. And within seconds, our driveway was very long. I could see this car drive down with Heather in it. So she was safe. Second was my daughter Shannon was diagnosed with osteosarcoma at the age of 11. And I felt, okay, this is it. This is when I'm going to lose that child. But after 5 years, she survived it. And I thought, oh, dodged the bullet. Everything is fine. And Shannon is 42 right now. But then Doug was diagnosed. And at that moment, I knew this was it. This was the child that I was going to lose. And within 6 months of his esophageal cancer diagnosis, I lost him.
Do you think Doug knew?
Oh, yeah. We talked about it.
Okay.
We talked about it. It wasn't an easy conversation. It was the hardest period of time I've ever gone through. However, I wanted more than anything in this world for my son to leave this planet feeling good about the next step. As good as you could feel.
Yeah. Love that. Thank you, Kitty. I really appreciate your input. Your relationship means a lot to me.
It means a lot to me, too, yours.
Okay.
We have a great connection.
A week before my daughter passed, I had it in my head I wanted to do this art project. And we traveled to 3 different art stores trying to find the type of paper that I could roll out, because my focus was wanting to trace my daughter and Kayla for an art project. They were getting upset that I was making them go to 3 different stores, but we finally found the paper. We got home and I asked my daughter straight up, "What do you want to be in your life?" And she said, "A soccer star." So how many mothers can say that they actually have a full imprint sketch from top to toe of their daughter? And when we got back from the funeral a week later, these beautiful sketches were hanging in the window as I came through the door. And I just remember seeing the son stand behind these beautiful prints and thinking, there she is. That awareness was life-changing. So that's the conversation. I hope I didn't upset anybody today. I just want you to know, no matter where you are, that's a gift. That's my video today. Ooh, can of worms. It's opened. Sorry. Felt like I had to say that. Have a great day.